Hi, YouTube family of believers. It's Daughter of the Most High. If you've been watching YouTube lately, you know there's a lot going on. And what I'm talking about is Dana Coverstone's prophetic dreams that he has been sharing in the last few weeks. And I watched one of his videos just over a week ago, and I was completely alarmed. I was very afraid, and have since settled down a little bit, but I was very afraid. And he shared that the Lord had given him some dreams. I believe it was in the end of December, and then another one more recently. And so then he decided to share the one in December, and then of course the recent dreams. And I believe the dreams are prophetic. There's some people that may not believe that. I believe it. I believe he's hearing from the Lord. I believe the Lord is using him to warn us in these times. There are other YouTube channels that have been talking about what would be going on this coming fall 2020 with the election and that sort of thing. And so I had heard some of that before, and then of course listening to Dana, it like freshened all that up again in my heart and in my mind. And I of course have spent time in prayer, because what's coming is it is very alarming. And so I have been praying about what I need to do, because I do live in a metropolitan area. There's about 3.5 million people in the metro area that I live in, and we would be one of the prime targets for the rioting and looting like there was around the time of the death of George Floyd, and then again around the time of the election. And then there's also, we know that we're going to be attacked by Russia and some other nations. I had heard in a prior prophetic word that we were going to have internal turmoil that our nation would be focused on around the time of the election. And when that's going on for us is when Russia planned to attack Russia and these other nations. So it is pretty scary stuff. We've got some big stuff going on. And I believe as believers that God will protect us, but I also think that we need to take some precautions. And that's important for us to do. And I'm not sure what those precautions look like. Of course, it's storing up of food and things like that, because we know that there's been such a change since dealing with COVID that, I think most of us are seeing empty shelves. There's like, at least in the store I go to, there will be like, all of the Kleenex and toilet paper and paper products gone. And then the next week, the soup aisle, and then the next week it'll be something else. And, never have we had times of, where like a section of products would be bare. And we've had that pretty much since COVID started. And so we know that there's some things going on there. And so we probably will have to store up some food and other things that we need in our homes. And again, as I was saying, I do live in a metropolitan area, and there is about 3.5 million people in the area I live in. And so we would be a prime target. One of them, that I do live in the Midwest, but I do believe we'd be one of the targets. We have a lot of people in our area. And that makes me want to move out of this key area. It does. It makes me want to move to a more rural, it's hard to say, rural area, and just to be a little bit safer. I have listened to Dana's videos a few times just to hear, because each time I get caught up in my thoughts as he says things, and then I miss other things he says. So I have watched him a few times, and they are alarming. If you have not seen Dana Coverstone's videos, I encourage you to do so. and to check his YouTube channel. I've also posted it on my Facebook timeline, so you can find it there too. Then last night, I had a strange dream last night. It was actually this morning, just as I was waking up, and I'm a night owl. So as a night owl, it takes me sometimes a long time to fall asleep, and then towards morning, I actually am in such a deep, like coma-like sleep that I always end up pushing snooze a few times, and that was the case this morning. Pardon me. So this morning I had a strange dream, and in the dream I was driving my little Kia car. I have a little car. I have a 2004 Kia, and in the dream I was driving down a road, and I was coming to, it was like almost like a T. So I'm coming this way, and then the cross traffic is just ahead of me. And as I was heading toward where I would be having traffic coming from the left and the right of me, all of a sudden my car is covered in snow. Now it is just about mid-July, so that's not typical, but in my dream I was just going along, driving along, no worries, no concerns, and all of a sudden my car is completely covered in snow. I cannot see, and I'm approaching the traffic from the left to the right, like a T-type road, and I panicked, and I braced myself. I didn't know who was coming. I couldn't see who was coming, if it was anyone, no one, a big truck, a dump truck, a snow truck. I didn't know, but in my dream, I was afraid that my little car was going to get hit by a big vehicle. And I remember saying to myself, this could be really bad. And I braced myself, and then my alarm woke me up. And the thing that stood out to me, well, there's a few things that stand out to me, is, first of all, I haven't had a God dream in quite a while. I am someone that does not remember my dreams. So when I remember my dreams, I know they're from God. And what the snow represents, I don't know. I don't know if that's something that's coming, that when it's winter for us in the Midwest, which would be December, January, February, and on, I don't know if that's it. But I was all of a sudden covered in snow. I was all of a sudden in danger. I was all of a sudden had no visibility, and I braced myself. Now, if you've watched David Coverstone's videos, God told him to brace himself, excuse me again, for what was coming. Brace yourself, brace yourself. You'll hear him say that. That's what God said to him. Well, I know that God said that to him, but I didn't understand that. I mean, God doesn't generally say, brace yourself. He says, believe and trust and fear not. And those are the kind of things that that's how the Lord speaks to us, to assure us. And, sometimes the warnings are to get out of an area, to leave an area, to leave a situation, to leave a job, to leave a person. He will warn us in that way. He doesn't generally tell us to brace ourselves. So I find that very interesting that I have a dream this morning that I braced myself for. I didn't know if I was going to get hit hard and injured. I didn't know if I was going to get killed. I wasn't able to steer because I couldn't see. My car was covered in snow. So the whole thing was so strange. So strange. So I was thinking about that, and I prayed about that. God, what does this mean? And sometimes we can kind of piece together what what the dream is symbolizing, but I'm not 100% sure. So maybe the Lord will speak to me a little bit more about that strange dream. Then I was just sitting here in worship, and I was listening to one of my favorite worship songs that I've been listening to lately. And I felt like the Lord impressed upon me Joel 3:19. Joel 3:19 says, Egypt shall be a desolation, and Edom shall be a desolate wilderness for their violence against the children of Judah, because they have shed innocent blood in their land. So what that means is, what you reap, what you sow is what you're going to reap. That's what that means. So you did that, so now you have, some people like New Agers call that karma. Well, it's not karma, because karma isn't a godly term, but it's the same principle. You reap what you sow. And so I believe that's what's happening with America. And we have some very serious things coming in the next few months. So we need to prepare, and we need to educate ourselves, and we need to spend some time with the Lord and make sure that we are strong in Him and repent of any sin that you might have in your life. Then we have shed so much innocent blood in this nation, particularly abortion. There has been other things, we don't treat our animals with care. I mean, the factory farming and that sort of thing. And then, of course, all the abortion. So there's that. And when we are abusive to the things that God has given us, we're going to reap that. We're going to reap what we have sown, unless we've repented and then we're forgiven. God is so amazing. We can do some very horrendous, awful, sinful things, and if we repent and abide in God, He will forgive us. So I want to read the next thing that I read today. This is Glenda Lomax, No Longer Mine. This is that book that I told you about before. I've had in prayer videos that no longer mine means America. God is saying that is about us, America. We are no longer His. He has lifted His hand of protection off of us. So I want to read today's entry. Let me go ahead. I gotta move my keyboard. Here. I need to put a little light on the subject here. So Glenda got this word from God on July 8th, 2016. And it says, woe has begun. You see that? Woe has begun. July 8th, 2016 is when she got this. This is Glenda saying this first sentence. I was very grieved over 5 Dallas police officers being gunned down during the night before, and I cried out to God about it in my prayer time. This is what He said to me. You have slaughtered my innocent ones, and their blood cries out to me. You have turned from my ways and love your iniquities. Indeed, you boast of it all around the world. You have refused my counsel and rejected my commands. You no longer desire me or the things of me, and now you are given to what you desire. Many more lives shall be taken. Fall on your faces and pray, my people. I desire my people would pray for the lost among those who will soon be taken. Much more death is coming to America and the world. America invited the spirit of murder when it slaughtered the innocent so many years ago, and invites it still, murdering the precious babies that I created. This spirit will not depart from you, America. It will increase. I thought that was so interesting. The spirit of murder. Yep, it's coming back on us. We see that. Don't we see that? Pray, my people, pray. Pray for the lost and sow seeds for your own protection and the protection of those you hold dear. America once walked in my ways, and now she has departed from them. She no longer desires I be involved in her affairs, and indeed I am no longer part of her ways. Woe to the nations that forget me, and the woe has now begun. My people are also being attacked. These attacks shall worsen. My children, as the wicked seek to blame everyone but themselves for all that happens. Be found in me, be found in my word, and I will reveal to you what you should do. Oh, I know. It's a strong word. It's a strong word. Glenda got that July 8th, which is about 4 years ago, 2016. And that's what we need to do. That's what we need to do, believers. It's coming, and God will protect us, but it's coming. So we've got to pray. We've got to believe. We've got to pray for the lost and just continue in Him. The times are coming, and God will show us the way. So thank you for listening. God bless you.